from Philippines, Dr. Anisa from Philippines. She wrote several books, and now she wrote one fresh books on public research methodology, and she is international speaker, even though she published several research paper in reportable journal. Now we would like to Dr. Anisa from Philippines.
Hello, Doc. Good afternoon.
Dr. Anisa, you are not audible. We can hear you.
I cannot
Yeah,
open.
yeah.
Okay, it's now.
Now we can hear you. Yeah, now okay.
Okay, Doc. I'm sorry, I cannot unmute earlier. Doc, can you see me now?
Yeah, we can see your presentations.
Okay, how about like that, Doc?
But I think you are online from mobile. That's why your presentation is small.
Okay, but can you see my presentation?
Yeah, now it's visible. You can carry on. Doctor,
Okay,
you are not audible. Hmm.
how about like that, Doc?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wal barakatuhu. Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, esteemed colleagues and distinguished participants, researchers, professors, students. I am Dr. Magna Anisa A. of Mindanao State University, Sulu, Philippines, under the chancellorship of Dr. Nabdur J. Abdurrahman. I am honored to join you today for the 3 days international seminar on research methodology and technique for faculty development program hosted by the Rokan Institute of Higher Education in Afghanistan. With that, I am thankful and grateful to Dr. Irfan Ula for his invitation. It is a privilege to be part of this enlightening series where we delve into the critical aspects of research methodology and its application. Today, I will be discussing a foundational component of responsible research practice, especially talking about research ethics. Since nowadays, research ethics is very critical and very important in doing and conducting a research. In our quest to advance knowledge and contribute meaningfully to our fields, it is imperative that we adhere to ethical principles that guide our research practices. Research ethics not only protects the rights and well-being of participants, but also ensures the integrity and credibility of our findings in our research. As we explore the essential principles, guidelines, and contemporary challenges in research ethics, I hope to provide valuable insights that will enhance your understanding and application of these crucial standards in your own research endeavors.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to the Rokan Institute of Technology to contribute to this webinar, and I look forward to engaging with you in this important discussion in the future. Now, please allow me to discuss the research ethics. Research ethics is a critical framework that ensures the responsible conduct of scientific inquiry, safeguarding the rights and well-being of research participants while maintaining the integrity of the research process. The reason why research ethics is important because at its core, research ethics is concerned with balancing the pursuit of knowledge against the potential risk to individuals and society. It involves principles such as respect for persons, beneficence, and justice, which guide researchers in making ethical decisions throughout their studies. Nagdi-discuss ako. Yari ako nag-online. Okay, can you hear me, Doc?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Somebody was asking, okay. So anyway, research ethics is actually important in conducting a research, especially in an era right now, where research is increasingly global and technologically driven. Understanding and adhering to ethical standards is more crucial than ever. Ethical practices in research not only foster public trust, but also enhance the credibility and reliability of scientific findings. It is by examining the key principles, the guidelines, and the challenges associated with research ethics, which we can better appreciate the role of the standards which play in advancing knowledge responsibly with integrity. Uh, Research ethics refers to the principles and standards and guide the researchers in conducting their work responsibly with integrity. It encompasses a range of practices and guidelines designed to ensure that research is conducted in a manner that is fair, respectful, and just. It is important for us that research ethics lies in its role in protecting the rights and welfare of research participants, ensuring the integrity of the research process, and maintaining public trust in scientific inquiry. And ethical research practices help prevent harm, avoid conflicts of interest, and promote transparency and accountability as well. So this time, we will be delving with the core principles of research ethics. First is respect for persons. We have to make sure that we have the informed consent and the autonomy of all the participants or respondents that we will be having in our research. Informed consent, the participants must be fully informed about the nature of the research, including any potential risk, and must voluntarily consent to participate. Do not coerce or do not force them to be part of the study if they don't want to. Then autonomy, respecting the decision-making capacity of individuals and ensuring that the participation is based on their free will. There's no coercion. There's
We
no
can hear you.
coercion.
Yeah, yes, we
Yeah.
can hear.
Okay, there's no coercion, there's no force involved. So as long as independently they want to be involved in the research thinking. And then another
Doctor, your mic is muted.
I'm sorry. Doc,
That's
I'm
okay. Now we can hear you.
okay. I don't know what's happening, why it's automatically unmuted. Okay, Doc. So another core principles is beneficence, which we do no harm and risk-benefit analysis. So when we talk about do no harm, the researchers should aim to maximize benefit and maximize any potential harm to participants. So as much as possible, risk-benefit analysis also would be implied or applied in the conduct of the research, which is there must be a careful evaluation of the potential risks and benefits of the research, especially when it is conducted. Another core principles include justice, wherein there must be a fair distribution and equity. So when we talk about fair distribution, the benefits and burdens of research should be distributed fairly among all participants. Equity, when you are ensuring that the vulnerable populations are not exploited and that all individuals are treated fairly. While integrity, it's about honesty and transparency, wherein researchers should be truthful and transparent about their methods, findings, and potential conflicts of interest. And another one is avoidance of fraud, which is researchers must avoid data fabrication, falsification, and plagiarism because this is a criminal offense. And then let's proceed to the research ethics programs and policies. In our case, internationally, there are several boards or committees that involved in in research ethics and that promulgate or that implements the programs and do the policy making. So first is the Institutional Review Board, IRBs. They actually ensure that they meet ethical standards. The researchers must be responsible for the assessing of the risk to participants, the informed consent process, and overall ethical consideration. Another one is Ethics Committee. These committees, sometimes known as Ethics Review Committees or ERCs, function similarly to IRBs but may be specific to particular fields or institutions. For example, in health, there is a specific committee for them. Or in mathematics like that, there is also another specification for them. Another one is good clinical practice, which is it ensures the clinical trial are conducted in accordance with ethical standards and regulatory requirements, focusing on the safety and rights of the participants. Another one, data protection policies, which includes the health insurance portability and accountability, especially in the United States, and this is internationally used by the researchers. But here in our country, we have also several organizations that are recognized for their role in upholding research ethics. These organizations are crucial in ensuring the research is conducted with integrity, with respect, and responsibility. So some of them, this includes Philippine Health Research Ethics Board, National Ethics Committee, Research Ethics Committee, Research Ethics Board, Department of Science and Technology, University-Based Ethics Committee. It depends on the organization or the university if they will going to conduct. The purpose of them is to collectively contribute to the ethical landscape of research in the Philippines, helping to protect research participants and ensuring that research contributes to positivity to society. So this time, we will going to delve on the organizations and guidelines. So we will going to know what are the guidelines and who are these organizations and what are their guidelines in relation to research ethics. So National Institutes of Health which provides guidelines and training on ethical practices in research, including the protection of human subjects, especially when we are using experimentation and at the same time we are pertaining to individuals or human beings. And then World Health Organization, which develops international ethical guidelines for research involving human subjects, particularly in global health context. And then the Belmont Report, a foundational document. This is actually particularly in the United States. And then Declaration of Helsinki. It's an international set of ethical principles for medical research involving subjects, especially for World Medical Association. This is established by this organization. And then American Psychological Association Ethics Code. There are guidelines for ethical practice in psychological research, including principles related to respect, competence, and responsibility. And another one is the Office of the Research Protections, which is in the United States, a government agency that oversees compliance with federal regulations regarding human research subjects. Then there are practices in research ethics. This includes ethical review process. In the ethical review process, this should be submitted for review, of course, from the board and ethics committee before commencing, or as much as possible, you have to evaluate the research design, participant recruitment, and consent procedures. And then informed consent is also important to know in the practices of research ethics, which ensure the consent forms are clear, comprehensive, and presented in a language that is understandable to participants. Remember that consent should be an ongoing process, not just at one-time event. And then another one is confidentiality. It implements measures to protect participants' privacy and the confidentiality of their data. This includes securing data storage and limiting access to sensitive information. And another one is the conflict of interest, which the researchers should disclose any potential conflicts of interest that may affect the research process or outcomes. This includes financial, personal, or professional interest. Another one is data management. This maintains accurate and honest records of research data that ensure data integrity and avoid practices such as data manipulation or selective reporting. And the last one practices is training and education, because the researchers should receive training in research ethics and compliance as much as possible. This includes understanding regulatory requirements like ethical standards and proper research methodologies. So we will also going to delve with the challenges and emerging issues which concerns global research ethics. This may vary across different cultures and legal contexts. Remember that the global research requires sensitivity to local norms and regulations while upholding universal ethical standards. And the other one is emerging technologies. This is actually another issue that comes out, or especially when you're conducting a research. Since there is already an advancement of technology, there are such an artificial intelligence and genetic research present new ethical dilemmas. So as much as possible, researchers must address these issues related to privacy, consent, and potential misuse of technology. And then dual use research. Dual use research, this is another challenge of the of research ethics, which has both beneficial and harmful effect. Biological research that could be used for bioterrorism requires careful ethical considerations and oversight. So as much as possible, that's just an example. So as much as possible, we really have to be particular with conducting a research. So another is participant vulnerability, wherein special attention is needed for research involving vulnerable populations such as minors, prisoners, or individuals with diminished capacity, which ensures their protection and requires additional ethical safeguards. Remember that research ethics is a fundamental aspect of conducting responsible and credible scientific inquiry. It involves adherence to core principles that prioritize the well-being of participants, integrity of the research process, and equity in the distribution of research benefits and burdens by following established guidelines, participating in ethics training, and addressing emerging challenges. Researchers can contribute to the advancement of knowledge while upholding the highest ethical standards. There is a saying from Dr. Nancy Icas. She is an associate director for public health of Johns Hopkins Berman Institute of Bioethics, wherein she reiterated that the essence of ethical research is to ensure that we do no harm, respect to our participants, and conduct our work with integrity. As a researchers, we have a duty not only to advance knowledge, but to do so in a way that honors the trust placed in us by our participants. That is actually contributed by Dr. Kass to us. And this is actually an important ethical principles in research. With that, thank you very much and good day to everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you, doctor, for your kind presentations.